Da-da-da-da. Hello and welcome to I Know You're Listening, the nerd show where we show nerd stuff.
We talk, you listen, and we know that's happening because it's the title of the show.
Well, today, to maintain your viewership, we are going to be morbing out to Daybreakers.
You like being a vampire, son?
I'm good at this. I was never very good at being human.
Immortality is the miracle. We are blessed.
What happens when there isn't a single drop left?
These are desperate times.
If a blood substitute is not found immediately, this will happen to all of us.
Have sex, excel, put my hands against, put my best up, put my ten.
It's Daybreaking time, starring Ethan Hawke as John Daybreaker. That's not his name. His name is Edward. Not
His name is Dr. Acula.
Dr. Edward Acula.
Hello, Cullen, from the film Twilight. Got my t-shirt on this week. That's how I know this time our Daybreakers recording is going to go well. As opposed to,
last time. So, in order to become a real podcast type show, we did a whole recording that I didn't record. So this is gonna be extra stale for us. But we're gonna morb out a second time to it. I really like this movie, so I still have a lot of good Daybreaking energy.
Yeah, I'm just glad that we got a practice round in so that all my jokes this week are gonna be perfect.
Yeah. But yeah, Daybreakers, awesome movie from the ye olde year of 2009. Ask your grandparents about it.
Takes place in the far-off future of 2019.
Totally, yeah. And they're worried about the pandemic that just hit. It's not really relevant. You'll have to put yourself into their kind of headspace, but I know you'll be able to figure it out.
Use your imagination.
This is starring, like I said, Ethan Hawke, and then classics Sam Neill and William Dafoe, or since he's a good guy in this movie, I prefer to refer to him as William Defriend. You can't really go wrong when you've got those as your lineup. There's a lot of other good classic Australian, B and C-list actors. I apologize for not knowing them offhand, but there really isn't a bad actor in the whole thing.
I watched this a week ago, and I've already forgotten who they were.
I know there was not Jimmy Smits, the other random Star Wars actor.
Oh yeah, Captain Tycho.
Yeah, Captain
Typho.
Typho, yeah, and he's the human-loving senator. But yeah, they don't make him like this anymore, do they, Ben?
They really don't.
Just like a self-contained movie, really good, really airtight, not a franchise, not a sequel hook in sight.
These days, if I see a movie and it says it's like 90-something minutes long, I go, ooh, must not be very good then. You watch a 90-minute movie expecting this isn't going to be very good, but at least it'll be over soon. The movie's just kind of short because it doesn't waste time.
Absolutely, yeah. They use every minute of this movie very well. If they are doing really good character moments, they're doing really good world building. I've got it running in the background here while I'm recording, and I was just reminded of the moment where all the little kids, all the bored little vampire kids, are just smoking in a back alley. And yeah, why not? You're not going to die from it, and you're going to be a little kid forever. That sucks. Might as well
probably some of them are about 30 by now.
But yeah, it takes place in 2019, and they talk about Sam Neill talks about getting cancer in like 2008. And and then like a year later, he was a vampire or whatever. But yeah, doesn't matter about the timeline. This isn't Star Wars. It's a great, awesome neo noir, like kind of pseudo Matrix modern vampire movie, but it's not about being a cute hunky boy vampire. It's about oil and capitalism.
Being a handsome, sexy doctor vampire.
I could see Elvis being William Defriend's Elvis being a sex icon. He being like a crusty boy. I bet the hipster girls would like him.
Like the absolute balls on these filmmakers to put Willem Dafoe into their vampire movie and have him play a human good guy, incredible. Like, oh, it's a vampire movie. Okay, yeah, it's got Willem Dafoe in it. Ooh, I bet he's real spooky. Like, no, he's a vampire for about 2 minutes. Back.
Yeah, well, the one shot of him, he's like in his car. He's starving, so he's got the ears on it. But they probably didn't have to do a lot of other makeup. We're sort of doing this as a Morbius movie, our Morbius episode. Well, I don't need to see new Morbius to know that this movie looks way better.
Yeah.
Somehow being, however many years older, 13 years older than Morbius. I don't need to see Morbius to know this looks a lot better. And, it's a lot of practical effects, very sparse to almost non-existent CGI.
I don't need to see Morbius to know that this has a better script.
I somehow think it does, just based on it, but, I will not judge the script without seeing it, only the visuals.
A more compelling lead actor.
You don't like Matt Smith. Matt Smith.
I literally constantly forget that Matt Smith is even in Morbius. Granted, I haven't seen it yet, but I'm surprised every time it comes.
I follow the meme economy like a stock bro in the 80s, and Matt Smith's stock is on the rise because of Morbius, even more so than Jared Leto.
Probably Matt Smith's biggest role since Rise of Skywalker.
I want to live in that alternative universe.
He showed up. He filmed. What did he film? Who knows?
We may never know. That's just fucking cursed. I don't want to think about that. Let's talk about Daybreakers some more. But as I was kind of leading into it with the Morbius comment, but yeah, this movie is beautiful. Blue in the way Matrix is green. It doesn't. That's like the vampire zones are, but like all the human zones are very warm tones.
The coloring is actually thematic. It's not just we're gonna do this dull blue to hide all of our CGI. Once again, bringing up Rise of Skywalker. I promise this will probably be the second or third to last time.
I'm tracking it. You only get 3 more.
What a blue film that was. Yeah, the blue is thematic. It separates the human parts from the vampire parts. It's an interesting film to look at. Your eyes don't get bored.
It's a really tight story. There's a crisis. Man tries to figure it out. Man gets roped in. Man figures it out. Man solves crisis. It goes by pretty quick, but so they have time to show the world, show a line of business vampires getting coffee, blood coffee. Just an awesome visual. I was reading some trivia, and that was apparently what got Sam Neill on board, was the imagery of a businessman demanding more blood in his coffee.
That's such a brilliant short world building scene. And one thing that I think is really intelligent that the filmmakers did is they have those little moments that tell you how the world is, and they don't really waste a lot of time trying to explain how the world got here, because that's not what's important.
They were definitely going for like hey guys, watch out, we're running out of oil, but it's kind of a tentative allegory. What it is a really great allegory for is just regular old capitalism.
Hooray!
At the time in 2009, oil, was a much more kind of prevalent thing than it is now. Gas prices are in the news, but that it's different. That was kind of artificial, where the blood in this is like a very real shortage that will actually kill people. We don't really need oil, they need blood, so it's not the best allegory. And then the absolute kind of nadir moment is when, I have a cure. Well, we'll use it a little bit just to make us richer and not die. But we're not going to make life better for anybody, because fuck them. And yeah, if that ain't capitalism, we could easily cure the world of a lot of ails. If we just distribute resources equally instead of who plays the game the best. And that's what's more going on in Daybreakers. Like, who vampires harder are the ones who are winning, rather than everybody can be cured pretty easily if they just take the time to do that.
Right, and the subsiders are a brilliant metaphor for how the scarcity affects the more vulnerable populations. Like the movie, like it's only like the second or third scene when vampires don't drink blood often enough, they start to turn into more Nosferatu-looking bat guys.
Well, the whole subsider thing shows it's a awesome, or not awesome. It's a very stark allegory for how we dehumanize people in that situation, and how it's so easy for people in power to scapegoat them. And I was thinking about, I was a little bummed out because near the third quarter of the movie, there's a little montage of people dogging on the subsiders, and you can really see kind of the limits of the budget, because it's like a couple little interviews and then they're massacring them. You don't really see like them rounding them up very much. They kind of had to move through that part, but what they do, it's very effective in showing like how the media will turn people against people in need instead of turning people against the people hoarding the resources.
Right, because that's the whole problem, is they simply, like, it's not an irreversible change.
Yeah, it's not
like,
the subsiders' fault.
Once you're a subsider, you can drink a bunch of blood and turn back into a normal humanoid vampire. It's just that no one wants to part with those resources because the businessmen need extra blood in their Starbucks coffee.
And that's what they're saying. It's like, oh, we should be nice, but we can't feed everybody, so fucking kill them. It kind of reminds me of The Thing and how well it's aged. John Carpenter's The Thing. This movie has aged very well, and, ultimately I think it's because the allegory fits better nowadays than even it did back then.
The allegory is easy to fit, and also we've done nothing to fix society since 2009. If anything, things have only gotten worse.
I'm just getting into my regular movie notes. Not only do you become a Nosferatu when you run out of blood, you become Iggy Pop. It's like, man, they looks just like a Iggy Pop in one of his more sweaty concerts. 1% of vampires are holding 90% of the blood. I am Count Sanders, and I cannot take it anymore. I gotta work on the Count Sanders character.
Yeah, no, that's not bad. You just kind of need some...
We have to redistribute blood!
No, that was good. I was like, gotta do like, Transylvanian Brooklyn, and that was not bad.
The millionaires and the billionaires. Oh no. Oh man. What I was gonna say was, how lucky is it to be a hematologist at the beginning of the vampire plague? Insane luck.
Like, just ass backwards your way into a cushy position there.
Or when the Sharknado hits, you're a marine biologist. Like, amazing luck.
It's funny thinking about how, like, most doctors were probably completely put out of business.
Tell me about your boyfriend. Oh, he's a doctor. That used to be nice. No, he's a blood doctor. Oh!
I did like his brother's, like, little, like, mini redemption-ish arc.
Yeah, well,
he turned him into a vampire against his will. Like, at first I thought that it was just going to be that one throwaway line. That's really all the explanation you need, is like, I was betrayed by my brother, I'll tell you more later. I was like, yeah, that kind of tells me everything I need to know. But then we have the brother's, like, kind of confession later that, like, I turned you against your will because I didn't want to be alone. Like, oh, dude.
Bro. His brother's not like a great guy, but fascist regime thrives off these maladjusted males who are just ready to do shitty things because a stronger or they perceive a more powerful male is giving them that encouragement. the
Right, a
way
person in power tells them that it's okay to ignore their conscience.
how fascist regimes churn these shits out like clockwork, and then it comes to a head during the genocide scene where all the soldiers are cheering, but they're clearly also starving and days away from being these same subsiders.
Right.
And you know, the one guy, the main character, of course, has a realization, but you know, the others will not, and will not to their deaths.
I think that's really like where the main horror of this horror film comes from. Like we got like maybe a couple jump scares, no like real huge ones. Like there's the one with the subsider who breaks into the apartment.
That's the thing. That's almost like the
But
jump scares are the bats at the start and
yeah,
finish. But that one, it's more kind of slow, and it's
it's
not.
situational horror.
Yeah, it's not as super startling. There's little startle moments.
Right, but it's mostly just like watching horrifying things happening and being like,
Yeah.
okay, so I know vampires aren't real, but if they were, it would be exactly like this.
Yeah, but insane creature effects, special effects aged well from 2009.
Yeah, like decapitation effects. Something that I feel like movies and TV like still have problems with. But in this film, there's like at least 2 times where someone gets their head ripped off, and it looks great.
Yeah, the
Damn,
subsider.
the disembodied head is disgusting.
Mm-hmm. Oh no, totally. Just like absolute buckets of blood. Very effective, but not egregious gore, and yeah, some good beheadings. The Subsider and then Sam Neill later, both really good looking heads. What CGI they use, it's mostly for explosions and probably expensive, dangerous stuff,
Little
and you know,
touch-ups, maybe.
blood explosions, but clearly using practical effects as well to enhance them. You know, those have aged better as well. Some of the explosions look a little After Effectsy, but it's very minor. Another thing, so you have this movie already doing a number of really cool, interesting things. It gives us a cool, interesting car chase.
Right, yeah, I love the vampire cars with the completely blacked out windows, and they operate them via like video cameras outside, which I feel like kind of in a little way like predicted larger cars are now. I feel like it probably was already a thing in 2009, but I feel like it's much more of a thing now that like my fiance's parents have a big ol' SUV, and it's got a little rear view camera whenever you back up that shows up on the center console, so you can not run over a child or whatever. But this is kind of like 360, and it's
that was
really
cutting
cool.
edge in 2009, certainly. A lot more common now, but yeah, they're the vampire cars are absolute Teslas from hell. Just like totally blocked off. You're stuck inside, looking like a fucking gamer lord with all your monitors, and that's the only way you can drive. And it makes it really interesting then to have a car chase during the day, and you will never be able to like get out of your car, and even a moderate amount of damage, you're fucked. And so, but the people chasing you also have those same constraints, so they also can't get too aggressive, or too many holes will fuck them.
Yeah, there's an awesome scene where
Everybody okay?
It didn't explode because it's a movie, Pinto. It exploded because it was full of vampires. And then soon after that scene, we get the awesome vampire Karen scene, where we get a very aged well Karen freakout. We didn't have Karen freakouts like that in 2009, or at least we weren't catching them on video yet. The scene in the movie, though, they're reducing the blood they can get in their coffee, and Kevin does not appreciate that. And so, just like the blood orgy there at that vampire Starbucks, it's It's like a Starbucks, but it's got a hospital sexy nurse theme to it. Like what you're saying about doctors, maybe all the hospitals were going out of business, so they immediately switched.
Yeah, rebrand.
They
The American
immediately
Red
switched
Cross,
in,
like, we're all ready to rebrand. We're cafes now.
nurse and doctor outfits. Those are just the barista costumes now.
Yeah, it's like a medieval times, but like, remember hospitals?
Oh, how quaint! Can I have a coffee, please? All the coffees, instead of being named espresso, they're named like Viagra or acetaminophen. One image I really like throughout the movie is the blood bank, the one with all the Matrix humans hooked up into it, getting deblooded. Better human bank than the Matrix one, I think.
I know it was very like horrific factory farm.
Absolutely, factory
Like
farm.
watching a PETA video.
Yeah, that's a really good metaphor analogy. Is it's very factory farm like. It looks like we're seeing the behind the scenes of a PETA video, and then it's slowly emptying over the course of the movie. I think the movie does a really kind of insidious thing. I like when movies kind of make the audience bad guys a little, because on one hand, we should be thankful that there are not humans suffering in here, but the movie's kind of tricking us and being worried and being anxious that it's emptying. It's like, oh no, they're running out of blood. But it's like, wait a second, good.
No, that's optimal. These people would probably rather not be in there.
So I like when movies pull little tricks like that on me in the audience of making me empathize even briefly with the vampires. And if you never even empathized for 1 second, congratulations, you are a better human than me. You win. Hey, let's talk about this ending.
Yeah, let's talk about it.
I don't really cotton spoiler warnings on this show. This is your one spoiler warning for the entirety of my YouTube career. I will just talk about the endings of things kind of willy-nilly. The ending of this movie is fucking incredible. It's probably one of the greatest kind of payoffs to a horror movie until Cabin in the Woods a few years later. Absolute blood orgy.
Bloodbath.
Yeah, total bloodbath. We have this very clever cure for vampirism. You burn it out in somebody, and then you can use their blood to cure other vampires when they
You
drink.
just have to like microdose sunlight.
Yeah,
until it's burned out of your system. Because if you have too much sunlight, you die.
Mm-hmm. You just
but you microdose it until you burn out the infection.
And then your heart starts back up, and you lose all your superpowers, I guess. And yeah, you're back to being a human. Cool.
But you're fine, even though you just caught fire a bunch of times. You still have all your hair and stuff. So
yeah,
that's nice.
You stayed immortal until it went away a little bit after the fire went away. It's cool. Don't worry about it. It works narratively. What they find out, they know about that in the movie from our William Dufresne character, but what they find out in the movie is then that blood from that cured person, when a vampire drinks it, cures them. A little bit of that Sunny D in their blood stays around, and well, whatever. It's kind of like a weird vaccine.
Sunny blood. Yeah, I think it's just, you gotta just think of it as like antibodies.
But what that can lead to is this absolute cavalcade of one, you have a human full of anti-vampire blood. A bunch of vampires tear this poor guy to shreds. Now they're all humans. Then the next group of starving vampires walks in. And then they get then that group gets torn to shreds, and you have another group of humans. And so it's a very dangerous way to cure the plague, but I guess it works.
Right, no, I totally thought, okay, so they send humanized Sam Neill down the elevator to the troops. I was like, oh, the troops are all going to feast on him, and then they're going to be humans, and they're going to go out into the world, and this cure is just going to spread virally like that. But the absolute feeding frenzy that ensues from these soldiers, to the point where there's supposedly a couple hundred of them there, and when we come back to them, there are 3 left standing who get immediately gunned down.
Yeah, it's just a beautiful scene. It's shot like a Renaissance painting.
Right, and it also shows how difficult this cure would be to spread still. But
Well,
still, yeah, if you try to spread it too fast, then all of your newly made humans are going to get instantly murdered.
You could put all the vampire executives, turn them into humans, and then shove them in that blood bank for a couple months. With all of vampire society starving, I really like how the soldiers are getting more bestial, and it sets up this ending. The bloodbath ending doesn't come out of nowhere, which. But you also, it doesn't advertise itself. It kind of sneaks up
Right.
on you at the same time because
It's still
they
a bit
have.
of a surprise, but you're like, oh fuck, well that makes sense.
Yeah, and but while it's happening, it's very believable. It didn't come out of left field because you have, everybody starving, and then when the vampire cops, they find that one group of humans off screen and just fucking eviscerate them. And you don't see it, but you see the aftermath, and that's like a clue that, things could get just absolutely fucking terrible. The genocide scene when the soldiers are, you see their ears are all pointy and some of them are looking a little monstery. It sets it all up so beautifully for that, that cavalcade just hitting well and earning its place, and following the movie followed up on all of its promises of what it was setting up. Anything else? I know we've morbed all over the room, morbing hard on this Morbius movie.
Let me morb at my morbs.
This movie either would not be made today, or it would, just be like,
it would be 3 hours long, and they would micro explain every last little bit of it.
I know you're listening. This movie made money. It's just, it didn't make Avengers money, sure. Nothing, not everything's gonna make Avengers money, and, another thing with capitalism is you don't have as many small studios anymore who would be cool making a $50 or $20 million movie. There are there aren't as many little studios who will just do that. Now everything's connected to a bigger operation, so everything's really
everything
big.
has to be a blockbuster or it's failed.
Yeah, or it's bad, or it's getting like half the resources a movie of this ilk would have gotten, years prior.
Great for streaming.
I feel like the last movie that was like this was Edge of Tomorrow. And, we just haven't really gotten, and when that bombed, I feel like a lot of interesting self-contained sci-fi movies, they're hard to find. I know you're listening. If you're making Morbius 2, make it a big old capitalism allegory.
A hematologist named Dr. Ed Daybreaker.
Absolutely, yeah. We need to add Daybreakers to the MCU. Hey, we are a teeny tiny itsy bitsy cutie woody little YouTube channel, and we need your help to be a big, strong, tough Chad YouTube channel. So please like and subscribe this video, share it with your friends. Leave a comment. Any insy beansy teeny weeny little bit of engagement helps immensely. We are all in a battle against the mighty algorithm drinking us like Sam Neill.
Let's hear the comments sound off about my awesome Carlisle Cullen Twilight t-shirt.
Yeah, talk about who would win in a fight, Daybreaker vampires versus Twilight vampires. I think it'd probably be Twilight vampires. They straight up have
especially if it was the day. Yeah, and also, they have X-Men powers.
But I don't know. Could be fun to talk about in the comments. Who would win in a fight, Edward Cullen or Morbius? That would be a fun episode.
Who would win in a fight, but who would win our hearts?
Matt Smith, Matt Smith, Matt Smith. Have sex, excess,